From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday, July 20th, 2 p.m. meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. We'll first hear from County Counsel Margot Rizon for a report on actions taken in closed session.
Good afternoon, Chairman Peters, members of the board. This morning, your board met in closed session on items 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63, but there is no reportable action.
Thank you. We will begin by considering the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or C above the items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. The CA represents the consent agenda of the Board of Supervisors, while the C represents the consent agenda for the Kern Sanitation Authority and the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the public wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. A member of the public may also comment on any closed session item. At this time, I'll read the consent agenda item numbers for the Board of Supervisors agenda. That is items 6 as well as items 8 through 10 on page 3, items 11 through 13 on page 4, items 14 through 20 on page 5, items 21 through 27 on page 6, items 28 through 33 on page 7, 34 through 38 on page 8, and lastly, items 39 through 45 on page 9. Also, I would like to note that item 25 has been withdrawn by staff and will not be considered today. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak regarding the consent agenda? Okay, would any members of the board like an item removed for discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda and to adjourn as the Board of Supervisors and reconvene as the Kern Sanitation Authority.
Second. Thank you. All in favor, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Okay, we are now sitting as the Kern Sanitation Authority and will consider the consent agenda, which includes item C1. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak regarding this item? Any comments or questions from the board?
Motion to approve the consent agenda and adjourn as the Kern Sanitation Authority and reconvene as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District.
Second. Thank you. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Okay, we're now sitting as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District and will consider the consent agenda, which includes item C2. Is there anyone wishing to speak regarding this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll come back for questions or comments from the board and a motion to approve the consent and adjourn as Ford City Taft Heights and reconvene as the Kern County Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Okay, we have reconvened as the Kern County Board of Supervisors and will now consider item 3, which is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct the staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Please state and spell your name before making your presentation. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the board?
Good afternoon, Chairman Peters and Supervisors of Kern County. My name is Dr. Tammy Wojciak, W-O-J-C-I-E-S-Z-A-K. I'm representing JVC Kenwood, E.F. Johnson, a global supplier of public safety radio solutions. We have been present in Kern County for many years. We protect first responders, schools, and citizens with our modern radio communications technology, including supplying public safety grade radio systems to China Lake here in Kern County, many of the city and county school districts, and recently were awarded Santa Barbara County's public safety radio system deployment through unanimous vote. Kern County led a design build RFP, and we were qualified as a vendor to submit a proposal to replace the county's radio communications system. But significant changes took place between RFQ and RFP. Therefore, we did not bid, which is why I'm speaking to you today. New and different qualifications appeared in the RFP that did not exist in the RFQ. This new narrow criteria eliminates the opportunity for the county to take advantage of the most modern technology available today. We requested that the county halt the current process so that it may review our protest claims, but it took no action. JVC Kenwood made the decision to no bid the RFP due to this new narrow scoring criteria. This radio system will be an $80 to $100 million purchase, one of the largest purchases for the county in the last 20 years. And only 2 vendors have submitted proposals. However, as mentioned before, this procurement is being driven to a single vendor. Therefore, we ask you, the county board, to review this design and build procurement process for the differences which occurred between the qualifications selection and RFP response timeframe. These differences subsequently changed the nature to qualify and respond in a fair and open procurement process. Thank you for your consideration and time. I am available to answer your questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. My name is Lori Barnes, spelled B-A-R-N-E-S, and I am the president and CEO of Applied Technology Group here in Bakersfield, California. Our company has been serving the Kern County area with two-way radio communications, wireless internet services, and licensed microwave systems for over 35 years. Additionally, we are proud to share we also offer our products and services throughout the state of California, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. We were looking forward to the opportunity of serving our own county by assisting with the development of a new public safety communication system. And we were planning on bringing additional technical jobs to our county. You can imagine our disappointment when we discovered the changes in the RFP bid specs, which did not appear in the RFQ. These changes disqualified our manufacturer of choice, JVC Kenwood. We worked hard to present this product line, its features and benefits, and how it differentiates from the current system the county is using today. We would appreciate your consideration to suspend these RFP proceedings until a resolution has been achieved in order to provide a fair RFP amongst the three manufacturers competing for the county's business. Lastly, we ask for an explanation as to why the RFP requirements were changed from the RFQ. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers would like to come up during a public presentation? Oh, sorry, Supervisor Maggard, didn't see was in there.
Ma'am, are you going to speak about what they just spoke about?
No.
Okay. I've never spoken to either of these two speakers just now, and I don't know or recognize the first one, but I know the second one, Ms. Barnes. She's a respected local business person in our community. What is the circumstance I'm not aware of of what has occurred. It's a big contract, almost $100 million, I think. And if local vendors are not able to participate, I'm interested in what the background is to that and some explanation.
Yeah, Chairman Peters, Supervisor Maggard, members of the board, if you'd give me 1 second to consult with staff.
Sure, thanks.
Jeff Hill, our Chief General Services Officer, will provide comment.
Thank you. Jeff, real quick before you go, Supervisor Couch, did you want to speak now or did you want to hold for? Okay, great.
So Jeffrey Hill, Chief General Services Officer for the county. I've prepared some comments based on the anticipation that there would be people here talking about this. I'd like to remind you guys that this project has been under design and procurement for at least 4 years. This is a joint city, county, and Tejon Ranch project for the emergency communication radio system. So this is all just a little background for you guys to bring you up to speed. We've had a technical consultant, federal engineering, in place since almost the beginning. Additionally, the purchasing manager, county council, and partners are partners in this endeavor and have been all along. Our response to JVC's initial letter was written and approved by and input with county council. I'd also like to remind you that this is, as they've mentioned, a design-build project. As such, we expect the various proposers to tailor their approach to the project in ways that meet the county's needs, as well as allowing them to be creative in their approach, leveraging the capabilities of their systems and equipment. We understand every vendor will have a different configuration, system capabilities, equipment, and design and implementation approach. This procurement has two main phases required for the design-build project, the RFQ and the RFP. These are connected but distinct phases. The three vendors, JVC, L3 Harris, and Motorola, made it through the RFQ and onto the RFP phase of the project. Currently, we have received 2 proposals, as was mentioned, L3 Harris and Motorola. In short, our current process going forward is to review the proposals, conduct Q&A. In September, we'll meet and continue to review our individual findings collectively as a group and continue the evaluation process. We'll conduct interviews and make a selection, then negotiate an agreement, and hopefully be back to your board by the end of the year with a contract. I won't attempt to address the technical details of their complaints, although we've been through them all. But suffice it to say that protest is based, fall into 2 broad categories. One is that the Kern County violated its own procurement process by materially changing and unjustifiably modifying the requirements of the RFP from the RFQ, that presented in the RFQ, and that the RFP requirements in part are both vague and contradictory. There's a lot of other complaints that they've made as well, but in their letter, those are the 2 main focus of their complaint. Answer the first complaint is simply the county reserves the right to modify the RFP during the process, which we did. We modified substantially, we modified the requirement from 95% coverage to 98% coverage in certain areas, not all the way through the county. We've issued 11 addenda. In other words, changes and clarifications throughout the course of the project. We've been very interactive with all 3 of the proposers, or those qualified to propose. We did change on May 7th. We changed that requirement from 95 to 98%. And we have extended the bid date, or the proposal date, by 30 days total throughout the course of the project. If asked, if any proposers needed additional time to review the requirements, we certainly would have accommodated them. Nothing further was asked, no further extensions were asked. Ensuring the county gets the best project possible is our aim, and modifications to the scope of work are allowable and further serve to benefit the county. Regarding the specific complaint of increase in coverage from 95 to 98%, JVC's assertion that the specification was erroneously added in May late in the RFP process is incorrect. We fully understood the potential design implications and intentionally updated the requirements via an addendum issued in accordance with the RFP. Additionally, there are no legal or procedural prohibitions to making changes throughout the course of the RFP. Further, the second point is the RFP requirements are vague and contradictory. The project specifications are not prescriptive, they're performance-based. We would expect any vendor to assess the county's desired system and provide the best technical solution their equipment and system can provide. However, in the event a vendor does not plan to or can't meet a specification, RFP allows for the vendors to state in the compliance matrix, which is part of their proposal, whether or not they comply with any portion of the RFP, whether they comply with comment or explanation, or that they provide an exemption. In other words, they don't comply. Comments regarding all of these will be taken into account, into consideration as we review the RFPs. The very fact that the county included that compliance matrix in the RFP documents is an example of our willingness to evaluate systems with differing approaches. There are listed options for features in which we're interested. Some of these may or may not be achievable by all vendors, but the county will review all proposals on their merit. In some, the county has not modified the project scope to exclude any vendor, nor provide advantage to any vendor. We have 2 proposals properly received from L3 Harris and Motorola and are proceeding with the evaluation process.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Can we have a little bit of a dialogue about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Supervisor Couch, you want to ask first?
Yeah. I'm chiding you a bit here. That's way wonkier than I know nothing about those details. I don't know what 95, 98, I know nothing about that. But I'm a long-standing advocate for local vendors. And I remember at the outset of this, several years ago, that, and I don't even know who the local vendors are, but I recognize Ms. Barnes' company and name. And I remember that a fellow named Poor, Mr. Poor, I knew him from years ago. His company was involved, and it seems like now neither of those local companies are involved. So we're not going to solve this sitting here today, but I'm interested in what transpired so that local vendors fell away. And I don't even know if there's a local vendor that's still involved, but I don't want to take the time to do that now. It's not the appropriate place, and I don't have enough background to have a real meaningful input into the process, but I'd like to know. So can we work out a way for you to convey, not only just to me, but to all of us, those kinds of details so we can have more information about that?
Yeah, Supervisor Maggard, through the chair, certainly. We can come back with a report on that. Construction projects in County Council may be able to enlighten you a little bit on this. Construction projects have some difficulty related to specifying local vendor participation. We can't compel it, and so it's a challenge for us to include those specifics in our construction project contracts. So
local vendors and 100 million both pique my interest, so I'm interested in that. So if you're going to get back to us and talk to us some more, and maybe that ends up being a public discussion, that's fine with me. I don't want anything to not to be transparent, but I've expressed my concerns to the depth of which I understand it, just based upon what I've heard today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you. As you know, I've never been a big fan of the RFP process around here, and I make light of that a little bit. But I recall when there was an RFP at one time where the local vendor got preference on the points. Excuse me, not the local vendor, but the incumbent received points in the scale, the rating scale. So I have a question about the rating scale. Has that already been determined for this project?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, yes, that was part of the RFP package.
So that's in the RFP.
The points and what constitute the details of the points.
So I listen to things very differently than I used to. What I just heard piqued my interest a little bit in that I think you said, hey, look, I'm going to put it in my terms. Look, you guys should have made a proposal, even if it wasn't if you didn't meet our criteria, you could have explained why you proposed something that didn't meet our criteria exactly, and we would have considered that. So my question is, in the scoring, were there points going to be awarded for meeting criteria or not meeting criteria?
Points are awarded based on the level to which they meet the criteria. So, yes, the short answer, Supervisor Couch, through the chair, is yes.
So, we're going to dance around here for a second, but I think what that says is we would have considered it, but you would have scored really low when we scored it, and we would have had to have some. We would have created an issue for everyone to deal with.
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, I wouldn't necessarily say that. What I would say, because I don't know what their creative solution was. Somebody eventually builds a better
that's my
mousetrap.
point. Does the creative solution that's worked into the scoring system, or do you just get marked down because you didn't meet our criteria, but we'll talk about it down the road? But as far as scoring, you're going to get marked down because you didn't meet our criteria. That's my sense.
If they meet the objective, they would score highly.
But that's different than my question, though. I'm talking about the criteria.
The criteria.
Let's say, let's go with a real life example. Let's say they had turned in an RFP that gave us 95% coverage, whatever that means, like it was described in the RFQ. Would they have scored poorly when you judged it?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, they may have. But, for example, there may be then a counterbalancing effect with regard to the cost component of the RFP. For instance, if it was cheaper for them to do 95%, they may score more highly on the cost component. So there could be a balancing.
What got the most points? Price?
I don't have that in front of me. I wish I could. I didn't come prepared for that level of conversation.
Can you today? I'd like to know what that scoring matrix looked like. I think one of the questions that was asked was why was it changed? And I think a minute ago you said substantial, but you kind of backed off of that word for a second there. I don't know if that's substantial going to 95 to 98, but the question that was posed, I think, was why was it changed? So,
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, it was changed by the committee that is the safety departments. That's fire, sheriff. That's the city of Bakersfield, fire and sheriff. All of the people, as well as all of the committee that is managing the RFP. Was changed to increase coverage within the population centers and along major traffic routes throughout Kern County. It really was increased to accommodate a higher level of safety for our safety personnel.
maybe you can't answer this, but why I don't understand why going from 95 to 98 is important. Why wouldn't we, if we're going at the densest population centers along the most traveled corridors, why wouldn't we be at 100? Or why would we not be at 99? What's the magic of 98 versus 95?
Supervisor Cash, through the chair, you're right. I can't describe for you the technical, what would be kind of qualitatively different between 98 and 100. I can't answer that. I'm certain our staff can.
But there's a difference. Does that mean that in some area of the densely populated area, someone might not be able to receive a communication or send one somewhere if it's 98 versus 100?
Supervisor Cash, through the chair, yes.
Okay. You're going to have to let me know where that is as well, because I want to either drive fast when I'm there or just avoid that area altogether. Talk to us, maybe, I don't know who this question should go to, but I think there was a mention of a letter that was sent during the RFQ process by the one of the potential bidders. I don't know who that went to. Did it go to General Services? Did it go to County Council? Who got that, and who responded to that?
That went to the county. The city got a copy of it as well. The response was made by General Services staff, purchasing, as well as County Council.
Did the city of Bakersfield respond?
They were aware of our response.
Okay.
I would ask Brian with County Council.
Let me ask a little bit about the city of Bakersfield here for a second. I think you said it was city and Tejon Ranch? It's like a...
Yes.
What if one of them, I assume all of us have the right to disagree about where this process may be headed. So we're headed a particular direction. What if those other two disagree with that? What are their options? And I only say that because I was asked this morning by some folks down the street what their options were. And I did not know.
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, if the city were to pull out, there is our current architecture for the project includes a redundant core, one on county property, one in the city. So, and they back each other up, mutually back each other up. If the city were to pull out, we would have to rethink how we would obtain redundancy in the system. That's one specific example of what would happen.
Tejon doesn't pose that same issue?
I'm not sure that Tejon poses that situation right now.
As far as you know, the city is happy with the way this is headed?
What I will say is that the city heard the same presentation about a month ago and chose not to act.
Heard the same presentation from JVC Kenwood?
I'm sorry, I forget Tammy's last name. I think it was Tammy that presented. They heard the same, fairly well the same complaint, but did not act. They heard it in public session.
Well, I agree with Supervisor Maggard's concern in this. And we had a short conversation about this the other day. This is a very, very expensive project for the county of Kern. And frankly, we were at 3 bidders. Now we're at 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm smarter than I look, then again, I'd have to be. The more people you have bidding on a project, it just seems to me the better price or better product you're going to get in the end. So it's distressing a little bit to see vendors choosing not to bid. Does it distress you at all?
Our experience is the more bidders, the better. Okay. But it was a choice that we didn't compel the choice. We didn't make the choice.
And I apologize for this. I'm trying to do this without calling people back up at the podium. But those were the things that I heard were, why did this change? Were there other major questions out there that you wanted at least someone to respond to you, not necessarily on the record today or anything, but are there other major issues that are, I get the sense that you're here today not to say scrap the whole deal, but can I ask you to come to the podium, sir? I'm sorry to do that. What is the ask of the board, or are you just letting us?
My name's Rich Cagle. I'm a senior vice president at JVC Kenwood E.F. Johnson.
Good afternoon.
And we really appreciate the explanation, right? And we don't want to put the county in a corner and say, you know, that this things must change. We bowed out for a business reason, and you described it fairly well. In the scoring criteria, when we evaluated this, there was no way for us to achieve a score that would allow us to be considered. So therefore, we would continue to spend effort and money pursuing an opportunity that we couldn't win in the end. Regardless of how spirited our response was, the scoring mechanism would not allow that to happen. If it did happen, the other vendors would then protest that and say, listen, you listed these things as a scoring criteria. You took this other vendor's opportunity that didn't meet this. Therefore, you didn't follow your own process. So we looked at that and said, okay, this is this is not an opportunity where they are going to really consider us. So we should just leave the process now rather than stay involved in it. The coverage issue, while it seems to be the hottest topic here, is not the hottest topic in there. So in 95 versus 98, any vendor can do that. It's if you think about it, if you want to light up a room, how many lights does it take to get the room half lit, 3/4 lit, or fully lit? It's just a number of towers you put up to increase the RF coverage. Any vendor can do that. That's not a limiting factor. Some of the things that drove that down, that criteria, that narrowed that criteria, were things like very specifically narrowed technology references that would change from the qualification process to the actual RFP. And I mean very narrowly. So when that first came back out, there was really only one vendor that could meet it, and that was questionable if they could meet that criteria. We asked the question, then the criteria got changed to where 2 vendors could meet it. So we've said, okay, this seems like they don't want us to participate. And there were a number of things like that. So it wasn't, and as we learned more, maybe it wasn't as intentional, because you hired a very good consultant, federal engineering, top consultant in the country. And our understanding was they were involved in all the way up through the RFQ process, but during the questions and the amendments may not have been as involved in the situation. And we don't know that for a fact. That may not be fact, because we were surprised at some of the answers that came out. We deal with them in other places around the country, and their answers are typically straight up down the center, create the most competition, the most open and honest approach, and we didn't see that. So that was another thing for us that said, hey, this doesn't look quite right. So that's why we ultimately made the decision to pull out a no bid. And we're not here for sour grapes. We've spent a lot of time with the county over the last 3 years. Our local vendor does a lot of business here. We do a lot of business with China Lake, right? And we're awarded the county next year in Santa Barbara County as well, right? And we feel that it's unfortunate, and we just wanted to make sure you guys understood why we exited the process. We would love an opportunity for a fair and open procurement process, if you so deem, but we're not here to complain or say sour grapes.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you. One last question, Mr. Hill, and then we can talk about this some more at great length, but he mentioned Santa Barbara, and I'd forgotten about that. Santa Barbara has some topography similar to ours. I don't know what their RFP, obviously I don't know this, what their RFQ or RFP look like. Does it give us any pause that Santa Barbara awarded a contract to them, went through the same process, and our RFP essentially, according to them, excludes them?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, I spoke with an individual at Santa Barbara County. Their coverage was 95% countywide. They made the choice not to go to 98% because of their topography and the amount of that topography. Within Kern County, there's a lot of land that doesn't have that same kind of quality that Santa Barbara does have. So they made that business decision to go to 95%. Our population centers we believe our population centers will not add tremendously to the cost of the project in putting them up to 98%. For the record, the city of Bakersfield, I believe, currently has 98%. And that was part of the original RFQ and RFP.
But do we know if Santa Barbara County specifically made the changes, not so much to the coverage, but as was just mentioned, the changes in the technology itself?
Supervisor Cash, to the chair, I do not have that information.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. Thank you. Can we have our next public speaker, please?
One last thing. It's always my belief that despite what the representative from JBC Kenwood said, and as polite as he was, that this sounds like it ought to be a discussion for closed session. Do you feel that is this a potential discussion for closed session under the potential litigation?
At this point, I'm not aware of any grounds. At some point, there might be, but I haven't heard anything right now.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Please state your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Bianca Santoyo, Byanka Santoyo. I'm a community organizer for Center Race Poverty in the Environment, and also part of the steering committee for Shafter for the AB 617, and also for Arvin and Lamont, new AB 617. We are here, well, I'm here again because a couple weeks ago I came to you in regards to the notification, the pesticide notification that we've been working on for the past 2 years already in the community of Shafter. We've recently sent you some media coverage that the Ag Commissioner sent out to the local media coverage in regards to the notification, and the way he remarks that he's not able to work with us on the notification, and he's actually on the side of the growers. We are here because we're here for public safety. One of his mission statements as the Ag Commissioner is to protect public health, and at the moment he's not doing that. So we've seen him in the background just mocking his ideology that he's not going to be working out with the notification. It's frustrating because he's a public servant, as you guys, and he has a right to represent residents, and he's not doing that. You guys are his bosses at the moment, and we are here to request for him to come out and talk to his bosses, and for us to be here. We're not afraid to let you guys know all the facts of every moment that he's dismissed all the public requests for this notification to happen in the community of Shafter. The state agency is already ready to go to make this notification possible. There's money allocated, and we can't let those funds to go to waste. So if you guys have any questions, and I am actually open to come and put it as an agenda item and have the Ag Commissioner come also and give his own statements, because we need all the key players here. Thank you.
Thank you. We have our next speakers, please.
Hello. My name is Esther Rivera. I've been here 3 times already. It's my 3rd time. And I'm still harping on this thing about the 4th of July when the illegal fireworks were being set off. They're still being set off. Not as much, but every day in the evening. and they sound like mortars. They're really loud. And I'm just gonna, I have a few notes here. It says, I wrote down that on the 4th of July, illegal fireworks in the south, where I live, Southwest Bakersfield, went on till 1:01 a.m. on 1:01 a.m. July 5th. And illegal fireworks have been going off all year long, not just for 4th of July. Something has to be done. I know this is minuscule, compared to other problems here that people bring, but I don't know how anybody could just blow it off. Something has to be done. The fire department only cites tickets if they see the person lighting them. Now, if you tell people, okay, if you call the fire department and say, hey, they're lighting fireworks, well, as soon as they see their truck, that fire truck coming down, they're gonna probably run. They're not gonna wait till they come, and it's just a dumb law, I was just wondering why won't drones be used to catch people or unmarked cars to catch violators? And on the Nextdoor app, I have a few quotes from some people. Tamara Duell, who lives in the Oleander Sunset, commented on Nextdoor app. She said, "It is so bad this year. I don't mind legal fireworks, but the huge aerial ones and the ones that sound like bombs and shake the house are way not cool. My poor babies are terrified, even with meds, and I have to admit some of them are even scaring me." Jonathan Adiola from the Northeast Airport Canal area.
Ma'am, we're about 30 seconds over the time limit. If you could just bring your comments to a close after this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I thought it was allowed 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're at 2 minutes and 45 seconds right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem.
Okay, so I'll just finish. I won't say that anymore. I won't read the rest, but I just want to comment that the fire department rolled out only 45 citations this 4th of July. 45 out of hundreds of people that have all these illegal fireworks. And I just didn't understand when I saw that on the news the next day, how only 45 citations were handed out. And that's my complaint for today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
What part of the county do you live in?
Southwest.
Would you leave your contact information with Mr. Alsop over, there's the gentleman that'll be waving at you in a second, right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could we get our next speaker, please?
My name is Joy Kennedy, Kennedy. I've been here numerous times. I feel like I'm becoming a fixture. Also over the issue of fireworks, and I actually wasn't going to speak today, but my neighborhood outside of Arvin was also what we would call a war zone. I called the fire department at 10:30 because the man behind me had done continuously shot off illegal, above ground, way above ground, very, very loud fireworks for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. This gentleman, his address had been reported at least 25 times in the 2 weeks before the 4th of July. When I called at 10:30, I was told they could no longer come out unless there was a fire or a medical emergency. And I said, I'm giving you the address, and he said, didn't matter. So as far as I was concerned, the task force was totally pointless. I don't know if this man received any citations. If he did, it didn't take any effect. The thing that got me after the fireworks, in addition to reading the Nextdoor app, which I'm on also, was that they are still continuously going off. that people don't know who to call, and that in Bakersfield there was a young man, 17 years old, on the morning of July 5th, about 2 in the morning, I believe, had his hand blown off by an illegal firework. It was in the newspaper. That just really got to me because that could happen to anybody. And I feel very, very sorry for this young man. I feel that he and his family probably will never touch another illegal firework. And also there was a professional athlete back east who was sitting in a hot tub at a party, and an illegal firework was set off, and it impaled him in the heart, and he died instantly. This is the kind of stuff that shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen here, shouldn't happen anywhere. The illegal fireworks stuff has got to stop. There is a thing, an issue, a bill, I guess, and it's AB 277. And we are trying to get it through the assembly in the state right now. It does not deal with illegal fireworks except to allow each fire department to take in more illegal fireworks than they are right now. I guess they are limited because they have to pay out of their department funding, if I'm getting this right, to send these illegal fireworks away, out of state, out of whatever, to be destroyed or to be sold to other states besides California.
Ma'am, we're well over the time limit right now. Could you just bring your comments to a close,
I was
please?
looking at it, I thought it was counting down. I'm so
no
very sorry.
problem.
That's all I had to say, except that I just think this is something that really does need to be addressed. And I know it's going to be kind of forgotten till next year, but I don't want it to be forgotten till next year because I think something needs to be done now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak under public presentations? Okay, seeing none, we'll now consider item number 4, board member announcements and reports. Are there any comments or reports from the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll now consider. Oh, I'm sorry, Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is not every day that we have an opportunity to congratulate and thank a public employee for a job well done. But when we receive people that are kind of effusive with their praise for our staff, I think it's worthwhile to make the public aware of that and to specifically thank that employee. I was made aware of by a constituent about somebody who recently sold a piece of property to the county. They sold property to us. In that process, an employee of the Public Works Maintenance Department, a superintendent named Denise Saucedo, was involved, Mr. Pope, and I wanted to congratulate her. I've sent an email to her already and copied you, but I wanted to congratulate her and thank her for her job well done and her commitment to being a good public servant. And when we hear those kind of things, I think it's important to share them. It was said about Ms. Saucedo that she is an asset to our community and an incredible person. So please make sure she knows that this board appreciates the job that she does, as well as the public who she serves. Thank you.
Any other comments or reports? Okay. We'll now consider item number 5 under Planning and Natural Resources Department, and that is a request of Ty Love to vacate an easement located at 3750 Nord Avenue and 3751 Passini Street in the Bakersfield area. And with that, I will call on Assistant Planning Director Craig Murphy.
Thank you, Chairman Peters, members of the board. You read the request correctly. This is a non-summary vacation of a 30-foot wide access easement that was approximately 1,331 feet in length. It's located between Nord Avenue and Passini Street. We did provide your board with an addendum staff report today. We received correspondence from the project applicant that neither the applicant nor their representative could be in attendance today. So staff is recommending this case be continued until your August 10th hearing. We have informed any of the parties that we knew were interested in this case as well and let them know that that would be our recommendation today. So with that being said, the staff recommendation is that this project be continued until your August 10th, 2021 hearing. That completes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Are there any members of the public wanting to speak on this item? Any questions, comments from the board? If not, I would entertain a motion on staff's recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion to continue the item to August 10th is approved. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. We'll now consider item number 7, a request for determination of public convenience by Dolgy, Growl for issuance of an off-sale general package store type 21 liquor license in a C2 PD district located at 5400 Olive Drive, Suite E and F in the Bakersfield area. And I will turn it back over to Mr. Murphy.
Again, thank you again, Chairman Peters, members of the board. The request before you today is the determination of a public convenience or necessity for the issue of an off-sale beer, wine, or distilled alcohol package store liquor license. This is known as a Type 21 permit in accordance with the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control, or ABC. Again, as you had mentioned, the applicant is Dolgy, Growl. This project site is a standalone liquor store located within the Olive Plaza Commercial Center at the corner of Olive Drive and Victor Street. The existing storefront is currently vacant and was the site of a former nail salon. The request is located specifically within Census Tract 5.04. Within this area, there are currently 5 active off-sale alcohol licenses, and there are also 4 on-sale licenses. The closest, sorry, I didn't know we didn't have the.
It won't go, I'm sorry.
That's right, we were waiting for. There we go. I didn't even look. Right. Again, the closest off-sale liquor license is held by Olive Drive Liquor, which is located approximately 600 feet east of the existing project site. ABC has indicated to staff that based on the census data, that a total of 3 off-sale licenses within the census tract would be permitted. So the census tract is currently over-concentrated. Census Tract 5.04 is primarily characterized as a mix of residential subdivision and then some scattered commercial development. Within the immediate vicinity of this project site, we have some residential apartments to the north. To the east and south, we have some commercial development, and directly west, we have the Valley Baptist Church. As part of the notification process for this project, staff notified all surrounding property owners within 1,000 feet of the site. We did receive a petition that was signed by 20 adjacent property owners regarding this request. Upon review of that, that appears to be from 14 separate addresses. As part of our review process, staff also contacted the Kern County Sheriff Department regarding any law enforcement activities within the site. I would note in the past 2 years, dating from April of 2019 until February 1st of 2021, there have been 46 calls for service to that shopping center. Additionally, in the past month, the Sheriff Office has conducted 2 separate patrol saturation operation advisories regarding that shopping center. Those were done on July 9th, and they were posted again on July 16th. As a result of those 2 operations, 47 additional separate arrests were made, both on misdemeanor and felony charges. The Sheriff Advisory characterizes this site and the surrounding properties as a high crime area. Copies of these advisories, along with the submitted petition, have been provided to your board for your review today. Based on all of that information in the record, staff is recommending that your board deny this DOPC request. It is staff's determination that there is sufficient availability of the public to purchase alcohol within the immediate vicinity of the request, which does include the existing liquor store located 650 feet away. The Valley Baptist Church is located directly across Victor Street, which would be the primary location where this proposed location liquor store is identified, and that also that this request is located within an area that has been characterized as high crime activities, as noted in the calls to service and the 2 operations that we recently received those advisories on from the Sheriff's Office. Therefore, the staff recommendation is that your board adopt resolution and recommended findings denying the Type 21 package store ABC liquor license for 5400 Olive Street, Suites E and F in the Bakersfield area of unincorporated Kern County. That completes staff's presentation, and I am available to answer any questions if you board desires.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Just for clarification, I know you mentioned several off-sale versus on-sale liquor licenses in the area. What's the difference between those?
Chairman Peters, through the board. So off-sale liquor licenses are specific requests where people can walk in, purchase the alcohol, and then take it from them. So you can go off-site, off-premises, drink it, at your own consumption somewhere else. On-site liquor licenses are those associated generally with restaurants or other type of food venues where you visit the site, sit down, you're generally eating, and you're allowed to purchase alcohol from the restaurant.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Any members of the public that would like to speak on this?
Good afternoon, Chairman Peters, the board, Madam Clerk, City County Council, Ms. Raison. My name is Gabriel Godinez, Godinez, on behalf of Dolgy, Growl, the petitioner, as well as the landowner, to encourage the board to set aside staff's recommendation and to approve this particular project. The information that's been provided, if you look at Exhibit A in the packet that's been provided, the calls for service, and I've been in contact with City Private Security. That's the private security that monitors that particular area. They are hired by Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong is the landowner. So it's their policy and practice whenever they see anything, loitering, drugs, broken windows, fighting, they're there as security. They do not interfere. So what they do, they call the sheriffs to come in and handle the situation. That's their policy. So they're constantly monitoring this particular area. If you look to the back of the particular project to the right, that is a vacant lot. There is a homeless issue in this problem that has contributed to blight and to what we have going on. And part of the issues with the homelessness in that area is having stores, homes, or anything that are vacant. Now, if you look at Exhibit A that's been provided by staff, it clearly shows, and it's circled in pink, where this current project wants to operate. They've already secured their lease. They've gone through the process with ABC. They're waiting for notification and approval by the county so they can get everything finalized through the ABC so they can start operating. They're looking to have their hours of operation between 7 to 10. We're willing to modify the hours of operation. When there's a business in place, there's security, there's lighting, there's people caring for that particular area. They have their investment here. They're looking to keep out the riffraff. But if you refer back to Exhibit A, the project where it's circled there, if you look to the right of it, there would be 4 empty store areas to the right, and 2 would be to the west, another 2 that are empty, and then on the other side of Ross, the Ross store, there are a few others. But this particular location, the vast majority of that location is vacant. And because of the vacancy, it lends itself to be vandalized, to be broken into, and that's what lends itself to crime. So if we look at this, my clients are wanting to revitalize this particular area, keep it clean, keep it protected. Obviously, they're going to be protecting their investment here. And so that's what we're asking the board to give. If they're not willing to vote for my client on this particular project, to table this matter until we have more information as to confirm who's calling in this service. And I'm telling the board that it is the security agency that patrols this particular area who's calling in these services. Because they're not going to interfere. They're not going to get in. They're not going to prevent that. That's not what they do. They're there to report. And because of that, that's in their efforts to help keep the place clean and keep it safe. So, and then the staff is correct. There are 20 signatures against this particular project, but those are 14 homes. Some of them are doubled up. If you look at the addresses, there's 2 addresses for the signatures at that location. And my clients have already committed sizable investment, secured the lease, and are willing to make any other changes in order to get this project going. And that would be even if 7 to 10, if we're looking to modify those hours of operation, we will certainly consider that. And so we're asking the board to approve this particular project or to table it till we get additional information regarding the things that we can do to keep the place clean, keep it protected, and keep out the loitering, keep out the homeless, and to have that place turn it around in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godinez. Is there any other member of the public wanting to speak on this item? Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Is there any question or comment from the board? Yeah, sure, I'll hop in there. I do have some concerns with this, seeing some of these reports with the sheriff going out there. I mean, some of these arrests that were made, there were dozens and dozens of arrests made in the last 2 weeks there for everything from fentanyl, there were missing people there were stolen vehicles. There's just a lot of crime that's been happening in this area, and it's definitely concerning. And with the concentration of liquor stores that are already in that area, including another dedicated liquor store in the parking lot, it just doesn't seem like this is a good fit for that area. And even just from an investment standpoint, it seems like there's already a kind of a concentration of these types of businesses in that area. And so with that, I think I would need a little bit more reason to really get behind this. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Murphy, you might be able to clarify this, but whether or not the county gives its stamp of approval to this, the ABC can still issue the license to operate this business regardless of the county's finding. Is that correct?
Chairman Peters, that is correct. So the item before you, just so that we're clear, is not the permission to have a liquor store at that location or anything along those lines.
It's just
the item is a recommendation to ABC regarding the fact whether or not a liquor license should be issued to this particular site. So ultimately, ABC makes that final determination. What they do is in areas that are over-concentrated or specifically requested, they provide the local jurisdiction with time to give a recommendation to them. In this case, just because it was brought up by Mr. Godinez, if we don't make any recommendation to them by August 10th, they can then proceed to make a decision on their own without our input. So ultimately, ABC does have that final say. We are simply recommending to ABC as to whether or not we believe it's a good idea to to provide a license at that location as it's in an area that's currently over-concentrated.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, this is to, a motion on staff's recommendation would be to recommend that we deny the permit. Could the board make a motion, just out of curiosity, to make no finding one way or another, basically to not issue an opinion on it?
Chairman Peters, through the board, that would be an item I would actually have to defer to council, as it is a specific action. I believe some sort of decision has to be made, whether it's continued, approved, denied. I'm not sure if that is an option. I would have to refer to council on that specifically.
Chairman Peters, your board could take no action, which is
understood.
Says, all right.
Yeah, that works. I was just curious. Thank you. Okay. Supervisor Maggard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a great deal of respect for Mr. Godinez and the stellar work he does advocating for his clients. So there's no reflection on you. And your client should know that you've done a very good job of advocating for clients here over the years. So again, this is no reflection on you, Mr. Godinez. This area used to be in the 3rd district. It is now in the 1st district. I would love someday for it to be back in the 3rd district again, because I love this neighborhood and the people that live there. But across the street is the 3rd district. The very east side of this shopping center is at the corner of Knudsen and Olive Drive, and catty corner across the street from there is a corner where there is a 7-Eleven, there's a Taco Bell, there's a gas station, and a huge amount of issues. In spite of the very best efforts of those business owners to keep order and provide a safe environment for their clientele, they are losing that battle. One store, for example, plays classical music 24/7. I've sat in the parking lot, doing my my supervisorial work there, and oh my goodness, I don't know how you could stand listening. I like classical music, but 24/7. And it works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't work. So bottom line is, this neighborhood is plagued with issues. Many of them have to do with homelessness. Many of them have to do with other issues. I watch carefully crime as it occurs in my district and on the periphery of it. And for those reasons, and the fact that it overconcentrates the presence of off-site liquor stores in that neighborhood. By the way, across the street to the west where that church is also where they have school activities, and a private school operates from time to time there. There's a respite place where people drop off their family members. In my opinion, we don't need any other magnet for those folks being drawn into that shopping center. That's a problem. So bottom line is, I agree with staff's recommendation and would be happy to make that motion, but it's in your district, Mr. Chairman, and I'm hesitant to step on your toes and make a motion for you.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Supervisor Couch.
Well, before Supervisor Maggard spoke, I was going to ask if you wanted some more time to consider what you had heard today, and if you wanted to defer the item until next week or something.
I appreciate that.
It's up to you.
I will say, just to echo what Supervisor Maggard had said, Mr. Godinez has been a great advocate for his clients, and good guy. I've known him for a while, and as far as his clients, my hat's off to you for trying to start a business, and I'm definitely in favor of small businesses, but I just think that this is something that's not a good fit for this neighborhood personally, and I have a hard time getting behind it. So with that, I will make a motion on staff's recommendation.
I'll second the motion.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 3 ayes, 2 absent. Supervisor Perez, Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you. Okay, having no additional items to consider, I will entertain a motion to adjourn to Monday, July 26th, 2021 at 6 p.m. for an evening budget discussion meeting.
So moved.
Without objection, we're adjourned.